to this week's episode of The Long Voyage. We do apologize for not having been here last week. Due to unforeseen circumstances, I was not able to play, and obviously without a storyteller it's kind of difficult to run a game. So, as I usually say in situations like this, no, you have in fact not missed a week. We did. So, we are back at it, and we are all here. The whole gang is here. So, Chris, could you do us the immense favor of giving us a recap of last time's shenanigans?
Yes. I don't know where that came from. I just felt the need to get my Skeletor on for some reason. Anyway. Yes. We need to run him into at some point, if we haven't already, actually. Anyway, before I digress too further, last time on the Long Voyage, in episode 24, we continued on our journey towards the Imperial capital, taking Li Ling to meet her new husband. And as we got closer and closer, it was becoming increasingly clear that both Li Ling and Ah Cheng were getting more and more agitated about the whole thing for reasons we somewhat understood in some cases, and in other cases didn't. Obviously, Li Ling was very nervous about leaving the life she'd known behind, having a new life with her husband, one of duty and obedience in most cases, considering that's sort of how our society and this culture works. And Ah Cheng also seemed quite agitated by this, but we could only speculate at the time. Eventually, we got to this lovely little town outside the capital. I say lovely, a town by Imperial standards, by our standards, Southlanders. It was pretty much a city. And we stayed at this lovely. We went to this inn, and we were met by not quite what we were expecting. It was a day full of surprises, as we were warned by our prophesying friend Frothy. It turns out that Li Ling's husband is in fact the second son to the Lotus Emperor himself. You know, just as it happens.
Because things like that just, happens.
Because of course you need to have, for all that I know you hate fairy tale things, fairy tale storytelling, Joan, you had to indulge this one time, it seems.
Guys, you are the heroes in a, or at least the protagonists in a great big epic. Yeah. Consequently, just from time to time, something rather large has to happen.
Yes, well, that wasn't the only thing. So we met AG, I think his name was.
Mm-hmm.
You said, and he seemed very reasonable, and we got to talking about this, that, and the other, and Li Ling seemed both confused and somewhat put at ease. And then it was revelation after revelation, because Ah Cheng first begged Prince AG if he could remain in Li Ling's service, and AG said this was not possible. It went against protocol to allow a manservant in that regard. To which Ah Cheng then let her hair down and let her yes. bosom show, and revealed that she was in fact Ah Chen. And that she had been lesing it up with Li Ling now for I don't know how many, for a good little while.
Well, Li Ling is very young, so it's quite a young romance, to put it mildly.
Infatuation sort of thing, then.
Yes, that is more accurate.
Fair enough. AG sent all of the guards out, both ours and his, and got to explaining himself. He explained that all of this was something that he had known going into the arrangement. It had been explained to him by the emissary to the Sword of the Dove, Ren, who it turns out was also his lover, since, why not? And that basically this arrangement was to ensure that both of them could live relatively happy lives, even if it meant that they would occasionally have to do, as he put it, do their duty and produce a child or two. They could otherwise continue to see the people they genuinely loved, even if Li Ling and AG would of course grow to care for each other very dearly. And this was all to everyone's satisfaction, and AG thanked all of us Southlanders profusely for seeing his charming bride-to-be to him, and offered us great wealth and many things, and we, being a frugal bunch, surprised him quite a bit. It turns out for all that we're searching for riches and glory, we're absolutely terrible at knowing what riches we want.
Yes.
We should perhaps work on that with the captain when we get back. Say, okay, next time someone offers us a great fortune, give us an idea of what would be a good, so we can bring it back, sort of thing. So yes, AG and Li Ling are getting happily married. Chen is going to stay with Li Ling as a sort of I'm not sure,
Lady in waiting.
Lady in waiting. Thank you. That's the term I'm looking for. Ren is still alive and kicking, so he'll occasionally pop into CAG, I'm sure, at some point. And although our friends in the Lanwan Guard are a bit confuzzled by our Chen's appearance, they otherwise aren't kicking up too much of a fuss about it. And so, our duty complete, we are set to return to Lanwan and our crew on a long journey back home.
Yes.
Not back home, but back to the ship at least.
Indeed. And I mean, obviously, along the way, the guards that you've had with you from Lanwan are continuously speculating how they have. I mean, they have known the our family for, well, their most, their lives, their whole lives. They are the ones who own the inn, and basically, no one has ever known that they had a daughter. Everybody has always assumed that they had a son, because that's what everyone was told.
Well, to which I think Sindri, thinking practically, will say, well, there's your answer. They've been able... When you have a child, it is much easier to hide one's gender, and then you have more time to sort of... Not only for people to get used to the idea of thinking of our Chen as male, but also they then have more time to prepare for when... Obviously, her body would develop, and so they could get binders and things.
Obviously, but and one of them then obviously asked, but why do it in the first place? And one of his comrades then mocks, slaps him over the back of his head and says, because you inheriting the inn, for goodness sake. And the first guy's like, oh. So, not always... They don't always think that swiftly, these guys. But...
well, that's not what they're hired for.
That's not what they're hired for, indeed. But, along the way back, they basically... The way they see it is, it's none of anybody else's business. They formed friendships with both Li Ling and Chen along the way to where this meeting took place, and they swear each other to secrecy. They're not gonna say anything to anyone. They don't want to throw a spanner in the works, so to say, for young people who quite frankly just like each other.
That's very reasonable of them.
They one of them, the most senior one of them, just shrugs and says, "You've been to Lanwan for a good few 10 days now. Can you please tell me, can you look me in the face and tell me that it is humanly possible to dislike Li Ling?"
Oh, that's not even a fair question.
No, it's not, but I'm asking it anyway. So
no, it is not conceivable for anyone to dislike her, and anyone who therefore does dislike her is unnatural and must be shunned.
Yes, exactly. So why would we do anything to upset her? That would be wrong of us.
Fair enough.
So,
yes, I think.
Yeah.
I think.
So basically, you guys, you travel back along the same route you took on the way out, because it's the easiest and the quickest. Now at least you know what you're passing along the way. Yeah,
so I was about to say, have to be careful we don't bump into Red Thunder and his little cohorts.
Yeah. No, yes. You don't. They've vacated the premises, and when you get back to Kepa, also or you get close to Kepa, the guards say that maybe we need to make one tiny detour and go around it for now. There's no reason for us to go back to a place where, quite frankly, where you in particular, they say, and look at all of you, were involved in great upheaval so recently. So, they suggest just basically going in a circle around Kepa and just visiting some of the smaller villages instead. But that also lets you discover, and it lets you realize that you have there is more food now. They get more food in the villages now. Like the new Lord of Kepa had promised.
Yes, yes.
I mean, they still get taxed in rice, and they still hand over a huge part of their produce, but they are no longer starving.
I was about to say, I mean, it's only been, I don't know how long since we left Kepa, but
it's been long enough. It's a at least a 10-day and a half from Kepa to where you needed to go. So it's.
I mean, even so, that's pretty damn quick. So
yeah, but
Cinder's impressed.
Not. I mean, not really. That's about a month, and it's if he writes up a declaration for his own lands, and then
Yeah. I suppose I'm thinking about it from a modern political standpoint. It takes about 5 years for anything to get done, and then about 6 months later, it automatically gets undone again.
Yeah, but he is the sole ruler of these lands. So if he says that as of today, we are going to take, instead of taking 8 or 9 out of every bushels of rice, we only take 6.
I think also, Chris, you'll find that people can be quite efficient when they're under threat of death if they don't do it.
Yes.
Yes. I don't know how condescending you sound when you say that to me, Erasmus. I mean,
but no, it does happen quickly. So
the joys of a tyranny. Sometimes it really does work.
If it's a benevolent tyrant, then it can be.
Yes, I was just thinking
less
of
obnoxious. I think is the word. Obviously, tyranny is never good, but.
I mean, of course, again, I'm sorry, it's going to tug at your heartstrings, but I'm thinking of Lord Havelock Veterinary. You can't possibly do that. I'm a tyrant. It's what I do.
Yes, definitely.
Anyway,
Lord Veterinary believed in democracy. One man, one vote. He was the man. He had the vote.
Yes, and fair punishment to all people except for mimes because they need to learn the words.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think you have a dog in the background there, but
my apologies for that.
No, that's fine. You can't help it. So. The long and the short of it is that you get back to Lanwan without. However much happened on the way out, the most interesting thing that happens on the way back is you guys getting drunk in pretty much every town you stop along the way, if you so desire. But other than that, it's a pretty uneventful journey. It's and when you finally get back to. Lanwan. It's actually let's just say it is late in the day. So just before sunset, you guys can make it around the last bend in the road, and you can see the familiar walls of wooden walls of Lanwan up ahead. What do?
I mean, does it look all right? Doesn't look like there's been any.
No, it looks fine.
That's good.
It looks fine. It doesn't look like there's been any. No more attacks, or at least if there has been, they've repaired whatever damage was done.
Mm-hmm.
Who needs a drink? I need a drink.
You've had plenty of drinks on the journey.
You're
Oh.
saying words, but you're making no sense.
Of course you'd say that. I have missed this place.
Yes, it's a quaint little place, isn't it?
Well, we know it's little now that we've been to Kepar and near the Imperial capital, certainly. No, this place feels just right. I'm looking forward to seeing the crew again. It's been far too long.
Yes, that will be. We have so much to tell them, and I'm certain they have much to tell us.
Well, let's not dally then. Let's get down there.
You can see, obviously, there are guards by the gates, as always, and your comrades are already. You guys are standing there talking, but your local comrades are already moving down there because, yay, we're home.
Yeah. I feel abandoned. Okay.
They do, wave for you guys to come along. Come on, food, a bed.
Yep. Time to see if we can. Good thing we all know how to power march, isn't it?
Yes. Well, you get to the gates and they are opened, obviously, and horns are blown from the gates so that everybody knows something important is happening. And as you enter Lanwan, let me just shift this, if I could speak. Let's get you back to the right location here.
Yes.
And
Yes, it's been a while.
it has been a while. And when you enter, people come out of their homes, and they look, because somebody blew the horn and banged the big gong, and it's like, what's happening? Oh, they're back. And obviously you are all still there, which makes people happy to see. So lots and lots of cheering.
Minus a few.
Well, yes, but the guards are there and you are there, so
Everyone who's supposed to come back.
yes, basically everyone who's supposed to come back. Possibly with the exception of Ah-Chan, who might have been intended to come back home, but who decided to stay.
And Eileen, who told us to tell Lord Bao that she wouldn't return.
Yes, that's
That
correct.
he wouldn't return.
Yes.
But he turned out to be a she.
Yes.
And Ilva is confused again.
I'm sure we can explain the situation. I think as from what in speech marks, Eileen wanted us to tell Lord Bao. I think it's best that we keep the sword's secret. I think that was the impression we got from him, that we shouldn't.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he wouldn't believe us anyway when we go, hey, the sword isn't returning. The sword? What? Eileen? What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, so let's. But yeah, and then we need to explain to about.
I think in
Why
that
not?
regard, Frodi is of the opinion that if the parents thought their son was coming home after such an adventure, they didn't think things through. Mom and Dad, I want to go explore the world. Sure, just come home again. Right.
That's okay, my baby. Just be home by 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
To be fair, while the group is speculating, Gilfie would actually go to the inn to
Yes.
see.
Yeah, we're following, so might as well get this out of the way.
Well, when you get to the inn, you also see some of your, crewmates, who've come out because hey, there's noise outside. So what's going on? You see, Spana is there, one of the battle maidens. This one.
God damn it!
Yeah.
And
That's what we
Fun
see.
one.
Vibrander is there,
Yes.
Actually
Aw.
fun one.
and Black Sweetie is there.
Yay!
It's kind of like middle of the road fun.
Ilva smiles very widely to Spana. Yay! Someone who doesn't change gender, and hugs her.
What? What? She does hug you back, but what do you mean? Change gender?
Confusing!
This
is in Southland, by the way.
This is a joke.
She is talking to her in Southland.
Yeah,
They're
of course.
confusing. Men are women and women are men.
What? She looks completely lost.
I know! I feel the same way.
Guys, is she drunk?
No,
Not
that's
anymore.
Jack.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I
Hope
mean-
not,
Men
but
are
that would
women and
explain a
women.
lot.
Okay. I guess you guys have a lot to tell.
Yes.
Well, not
yeah.
all women are men. Some of them are very, very, very dangerous monsters. She smiles.
Right.
We will explain all eventually.
Hey,
Well,
explain.
shouldn't we? And she looks up at Black Sweetie, who nods and says, "Yeah, we will go back down to the ship
Mhm.
and get those who are down there, and we will get those who have, most of the crew. While you've been gone, we all stay with various families now. While we waited for you, because Ormer does want to move on. He says he the captain does want to set sail again because the ship is in perfect condition. But we'll tell everything that happened when we've gotten everyone together, right?
Hmm.
Right. I am looking forward to seeing everyone again.
All right. So we'll meet down by the ship. It's easiest to find.
Yes.
Right.
Sounds good.
Okay.
We go find the ship, I assume.
Well, we've still got to go and do our.
Yeah, we still go to talk with AA.
I'm more interested in seeing the others. See you at the boat.
Alright then.
Okay.
Sure. So you go in and see the innkeeper
Mhm.
and his wife, for that matter. They're both
Mm.
there. As usual, serving food.
Alright. Ilva looks at the others shortly.
Yeah, Goofy just waves to like
He spreads
Losing-
out his arms to his side. Great big embrace. Looking gesture and walks towards you. Oh, welcome home. It's good
Yeah.
to see you again, my friends.
Hello.
Good to see you as well.
But
Uh,
why so glum?
Are there anywhere we can talk in private?
Well, yes, is something amiss? He says, suddenly looking a bit worried.
It's about Cheng.
Oh, did something bad happen?
No.
No.
Oh, thank goodness. Thank the powers. Well, come with me, he says, and takes you, out into the kitchen, basically.
Hmm.
And his wife follows, obviously, as well.
Obviously, it's about her daughter. She'd want to know too. Alright. Well, Chen is not coming back.
I think you mean he begins, and then his
No,
wife just
no,
shakes
no.
her head and just like swats his arms and says, "Stop it already." Right.
Yeah.
She decided to stay with Liling.
Oh,
to be fair, there's not much to tell. It's
right.
just the only thing that you really need to know that they are
Of course.
safe, happy, and together.
Yes, and basically he frowns a bit and then he says, "Well, that they were good friends. I suppose that makes sense." And his wife just face palms.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. Dearest,
I think
lovely
he's like,
husband
yes,
of mine.
yes,
they were
they
very
were.
good friends. Very, very.
The lifts the brow.
Yes. She said,
And then looks at his wife with a, yeah, I didn't get it either before it was painted in my face.
I'll. Don't worry. I will explain everything to him when it's just him and me. Don't worry about it. And he looks at her with this whole "I'm being stupid again" face. Aren't
Oh,
I?
poor man.
Yeah,
Nah, it's okay.
I don't understand.
Gilfy looks at the wife like, I understand you.
Okay. Well, thank you for letting us know. It is
Hey!
very good of
Elva
you.
looks like Gilfy.
It is very good of you to let us know that this is, how things are. Obviously, it's not easy because it's doubtful we will ever hear from her again. The empire is enormous, but
Yeah.
the
Well,
main
they know
thing
where
is
she is.
the main thing is that she's happy.
I
I mean-
believe she'll be that, yes.
And I don't think she ever would have been if she had stayed in London. Not truly.
No.
I will.
What-
Everything turned out for the better in the end.
Yes, I think it did. She says, and Hetz just holds up a hand to you and says, "Just wait one moment." And she goes out the back door from the kitchen and comes back a little bit later with a fairly large box. It's actually it's a good sized box, maybe about, well, for reference, maybe about half a meter in depth and maybe 75 centimeters wide. So it's a rather large thing. And she says, "I have understood from your captain that you will be leaving us soon. He's been talking about it for a while now, that when you came back the idea was to set sail again, and obviously we will all be very sad to see you go, but this is not your home. You will always have a home in Lanwan, there's no question of that, but you must be eager to see more of the world and eventually your own home again. But we don't have much in terms of wealth. Most of what we earn here is spent buying supplies, obviously. But we do have this." And her husband takes one look at the box and for a moment looks surprised, and then he nods and says, "Yes, but let us at least make sure they have something that they can bind it with, because they are going on a sea voyage in a ship with low sides." And she nods and says, I'll make sure of that, don't worry." But she opens it, and it's a spice box. And she says, "Wherever you are going, this should fetch a good price."
Oh, that's neat.
So it's got several kinds of spices in it, local herbs and so on and so forth. So yes, it does represent a good value, no question of it. Amongst other things, there's pepper in there, which in itself is a rarity.
Quite a...
Which seems weird to us because in our world it's just pepper.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, this is a very thoughtful gift, very valuable gift. Thank you.
And well, they both bow gratefully, and then she puts a hand on her husband's arm, and slowly she starts leading him out into the garden out back, so that she can have a word with him and explain the birds and the bees to him, or in this case the bees and the bees.
So
Or the flower and the flower.
Also possible, yes.
No, it's not like that. Right, well then, we can either... Well, that's that side sorted out. We can either head down to the ship, but we do need to... If we do head down to the ship, we need to let Orma know that we need to speak to Lord Bao about our success.
Yep. I wonder if he knows who his daughter were to marry.
Well, we shall find out when we talk to him about it.
Of course. I mean, Leeling looked surprised, to say it mildly. Very mildly. She looked like she had heart palpitations.
Think the world of everyone in this town, but It would. I can't say I would be surprised if this was information that Lord Bao had, for some reason unknown to me, kept from his daughter. Imperial politics is strange.
Yep.
Okay, so ship and then Lord Bao, or Lord Bao and then ship?
Let's go back to the ship.
Yes.
I need to make sure it's still there.
Should think it is. Right, we're going to the...
You go down to the beach.
Yes.
Right. You get down there, and the crew looks to be gathered when you approach. And as you get closer, you can see, well, almost everyone is there, but there are a few faces missing.
Who?
There are 3 of the named ones and another 3 of unnamed crew that are missing.
Huh. Strange.
Hmm.
Oh dear.
And you are.
We'll probably get an explanation.
You are in fact missing him.
No.
Oh.
Him.
No.
Oh, poor man.
Why are you saying
Him.
poor man?
Oh,
Oh,
my
no.
god.
Wow.
Not Ronnie! Fuck!
That's really... Ah.
Daddy, come back!
Oh. It's sad. This makes me very sad.
Throdi will immediately, in that case, have sought out his uncle,
Yes.
who I assume has just been turned into an NPC.
Yes. He's just turned to NPC status.
There he is.
But you are told, you are welcomed back very, very warmly, very, very heartily. You have, the crew are overjoyed to see you again. They obviously they have been very worried for you all, and wondering if you were going to make it back at all, and they've constantly been asking around Lanwan for the last 10 days or so, how long is it going to take to travel to where they need to go and come back, and because they don't want to set sail without you, and so they have been very genuinely worried for all of you, and they are incredibly relieved to see you back. Captain Ormer is quite literally embraces all of you and wishes you all welcome back, and it is very good to see you, and I am going to want to hear everything that has happened.
Of course.
We are going to set sail the day after tomorrow, now that you're back.
That's
And we will sail on the tide. And yes, that may seem like a short time, but we really do need to think about moving on before it becomes impossible to leave.
indeed.
And we have lost friends here. I'll tell you all about it when we are underway as well. But we have done what we said we would do, and that's the main thing.
That is good.
Tomorrow we will gather supplies, food, water, and so on for the journey.
Right.
But now that
I
we're
should-
all here, he says, now that we are all here, I will ask every man and woman here. This place has been good to us. Perhaps better than any other place we are likely to ever find. Anywhere else. And we have made very good friends here. Some of us have made, well, slightly more than friends. And I am not going to stand in the way of any man or woman who wishes to stay here. There will be no hard words. There will be no recrimination. If you wish to stay, by the powers I will understand why. If you don't, then be here on the tide by the ship the day after tomorrow, and then we leave.
I think Thrody is glancing at Gylfi at this point.
I mean,
Gylfi's like faffing around with his like pipe. Not this one.
no, that would be weird. No. I mean, Gylfi has said that he would stay by us because, you know, he does care about us, and we do need his mad healing skills, you know.
Mad
But
healing skills is good.
yeah, but of course you never know. This place is
But
nice.
you know, you've seen what happens when Gylfi leaves the crew.
People start dying.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Clearly. Yep. Oh dear. Very well. We will, of course, we'll think on what you have said. We have some other duties to attend to, of course, over the next day and a half, beyond saying farewells. We must inform Lord Bow of the success of our mission.
Oh, yes, if you haven't already, you should probably go and do so right away.
Yes.
All right.
Traipsing off to the
Yep.
Mansion.
mansion.
Yes.
This time Thrody will come with.
Well, you head up there and you are shown in, and you are, in fact, just a moment here while I open up the right. You are shown in, and Lady Feyan is sitting in the first large room that you are led into. She's playing a stringed instrument. It's quite beautiful, actually. And she looks up when you arrive and smiles, stops playing, and stands up to greet you. My friends, it has been very long.
It was a long journey.
It certainly was. And I see you are all back safe and sound.
Yes, we had. Well, we had people who wished to stay, but none who died.
Very well. I am very relieved to hear that. It seems the Sun Empress smiled upon your endeavor. It is good to know that everything went according to plan. And how did Liling, how did she react to her betrothed?
She was shocked.
With awe, I would say.
Oh, she looks confused. I
Well,
mean,
Well-
I've heard that he was a good-looking man, but
Oh, it was.
let me, if that's all right.
Perhaps we should get the Lord here as well.
of course. One moment, she says, and then she heads upstairs, and a few minutes later, she comes back down with her husband, who also smiles when he sees you and expresses his joy at seeing you all safe and sound and so on. And then Lady Feyan says to him, apparently something quite extraordinary happened when our daughter met her betrothed. But I thought you should be here to hear what it's about. Apparently it's something very important.
Very big.
Good for you, I assume.
very big. Was he? I heard that he was good looking. Lord Bao says. Was that untrue? Was he very fat?
No.
He was a handsome man, and he was very kind and caring.
Oh,
It's
good.
more the matter of his station that gave us quite a surprise.
Oh, we were informed by Ren that he was obviously that he was of noble blood.
Good.
But
Gilfy is at this point. It was Prince Edgy.
that just makes all conversations stop right there. You know, they.
Thank you, Gilfy. That all efforts towards a delicate touch, and you've pulled a little divert on the situation.
You were too slow.
News.
I'm so proud of you, Gilfy.
It's not like she met somebody like Bill in the lower station or something like that.
Can you not?
It was a good news.
Can you not just savor the build-up sometimes?
No.
Anyway, no. Yes, the point is that yes, your beloved daughter is now the loving wife of the second son of the Lotus Emperor himself.
Lord Bao actually reaches out to one of the beams that holds up the roof or the ceiling in this room and leans against it, clearly looking like he's about to keel over. And Lady Feyan looks like she's just gone completely rigid. She has no idea what she doesn't even seem to remember quite how to move at this point.
If it helps, His Majesty seemed quite pleased with your daughter.
He
Very
leans
pleased.
to Sindri like, you see, they took it well.
He was.
I can see.
He
Took
was
it very well.
He wasn't displeased by the fact that she was mute.
No,
Oh no, he knew.
Ren had already told them.
Oh,
But he still really, really liked her.
oh, powers be blessed. Thank you. That is, I mean, I would not wish in any way to offend His Imperial Highness by if he had found fault with Liling, however much we may think that she's flawless.
Of course, no. Is as a matter of point, you mentioned that Ren had recommended His Highness to you and your daughter. It was Ren also who recommended Liling to His Highness, and well, he seemed. He explained obviously. He did not withhold any information from the man. If he was pleased with the arrangement at the beginning, then I imagine that was unlikely to change after our journey there. Yes, it is all well.
All is good. I thank you deeply for your help. Lord Bao finally gives up and sits down, gesturing for you to have a seat as well if you wish. And
Sure.
he says, I am honestly overwhelmed. I had no idea that this is what Ren had planned. We should probably not speak too highly or too loudly about this in the village, because while this is obviously extraordinarily happy news, it would also make this village, it would make this town, it would make Lanwan a target for any enemies of His Imperial Highness, in order to hurt him by hurting his wife. So we should keep it quiet that this is what has happened, and still go with the official story that she has married a lesser noble from across the empire, and she's far away, and and we will probably never see her again here in Lanwan, which is obviously going to be the case anyway, he says.
Probably also the reason why Ren didn't say anything.
That would be very... Yes, I think that is probably the reason why, probably the case. And if it is, then I thank him, obviously, and I shall, if I see him again, thank him personally for this. How about everybody else? Did the guards make it back in one piece? And what about Eileen?
Yeah,
Well-
all the gods are back,
Good.
but Ireland.
And yeah, no, just
Not
to say, they are
returned.
the only one. They are the only ones other than know about
Yes.
friends and stuff. Yeah, we are not, obviously wouldn't be a problem because we are leaving like soon enough. But just saying. Also, oh yeah, Eileen. Eileen. Yeah. Oh yeah, Eileen. Basically was saddened to say that she will be also staying in the capital. She struck a major like business agreement in the capital that forced her to stay.
Oh. Well, obviously it's sad that we're losing such a skilled seamstress here in Lanwan, but let's face it, her skills are certainly good enough that she could make a very good living off it in the capital. So while I'm sad that she has left, I do understand. And thank you for letting me know.
Oh, her skills were definitely divine, but
Everybody
Timeless
please roll
even.
me a perception sight.
Lol.
What manner of crap are you getting us into now, Gilfy? It's perception vision, yes?
Yes.
Sindri sees all and knows all.
Yes, actually, you all
Everybody.
you all manage.
Oh my god, I did it!
Yes, you did. All
Oh my
manage.
god, he's
Excellent.
proud.
Excellent. So, what happens is you know while Lord Bao sits there and goes like that's obviously that's good, and while it's sad, it's still good for her, and so on, and he's looking at you, and next to him and slightly behind him because of the positioning is of course Lady Feyan, and you all see her winking at you.
Flurry winks back. As he adds timeless even to the comment on her skills.
Yes. Yes, that's I suppose, and Lord Bao looks a little confused as to the wink, but yes, certainly her skills were extraordinary, and then he
Ulva just looks slightly tired.
he stands up and says, if you will pardon me, this has been extraordinary news, and I think I should like to lie down for a little bit.
Of course.
Of course.
He gets up and heads back upstairs, and Lady Feyan stands up and smiles at all of you and says, we have already arranged compensation for your efforts with your captain. But
Mhm.
she says, on a personal note, I am very grateful to you for what you have done for my daughter and consequently for my family. I can never thank you enough.
Well, with someone as sweet as Liling, that's really reward in its own to see her safely there.
She is a very dear girl, isn't she?
Yeah.
Yes.
She will have a life better than any either my husband or I could have dreamt of for her, and that in itself, that is a bigger reward than I think anything I could have imagined. So, yes, once again, I do thank you from the depth of my being.
I'm sorry to ask this, but
Oh, please go ahead.
I've come upon this quite a lot.
Yes.
Is it normal for women to know everything and the men to be less quick about it?
No, not. And she thinks about it for a moment and then just shakes her head and says, "Let me rephrase that. Women in the Empire are not supposed to. We are not the ones making the political decisions. We are not the ones who go off to war. We are, in fact, known as the honorable hidden ones to the really conservative, old-fashioned types, because that's what we're supposed to be. Pretty things hidden away at home. But that just means we have to do things our way. We have to pay close attention. We have to listen when nobody thinks we are of any consequence. If people are talking because, oh, it is just a woman here, it doesn't matter, that she's of no consequence. So we hear things.
So if you want to be unassuming, charade as a woman.
That is. Yes, precisely. Ylva, precisely.
He was clever all along.
Kanashi is extremely clever.
Don't get to survive for this long without being clever.
Especially not in his situation. Having exiled himself from court is... I know it was not easy. It was not a decision he made easily. It was one he made for the right reasons. And sure, I'm certain he could return if he wanted to, but the problem, she says, the problem is the imperial family is descended from the Sun Empress herself. And that means that the Lotus Emperor cannot make a mistake. He's divine. If he makes a mistake, the powers are able to make mistakes, and that's not possible. That's unacceptable. So if Kanashi returns to court, he would have to admit that he was wrong to walk out in the first place, because otherwise an emperor, however passed on he might be, however many emperors there's been in the meantime, you would still have to admit that that particular emperor on whom he walked out was right all along, and Kanashi is far too proud to do that.
Ylva's brows has disappeared into her hairline. That is such a foreign concept to me that I don't even know if I get it.
Yes, I mean, for all the... How can I put this? We do venerate our powers, of course we do, and we do look to them for guidance in many things, but to think that they are incapable of being wrong about something is... We see that as very foolish.
I think all powers are venerated differently regardless of where you go. I think that is part of why they disagree so strongly that they have us, mere mortals, kill each other in such radical numbers for their own decision's sake.
Yep.
Thrody takes a deep breath and then says, I feel like I should add this, since you, the Hidden Ones, seem to know so much. The Imperial Prince knew everything there was to know about your daughter, and accepted all of it, all that she was, or is.
Thank you.
And he also figured that they'd be very great friends.
I am relieved to hear it. I must admit, however much I knew, I had no idea that he was the one waiting for you at the other end of your journey. I genuinely did not know that, but I am glad that you told me. Li-Ling has never shown much interest in boys.
I knew her for a short time, so I wouldn't be able to tell that part.
It is good to know that Ren respected her enough to figure that out as well. He's a good friend.
Well, yes, and considering
I think that was part of the reason she was such a good fit.
Ah.
Hmm.
Well, let us not
Yep.
dwell further on that, she says and smiles. I should probably go attend to my weary husband.
indeed,
course.
Yeah.
She bows to each of you individually, and then she heads upstairs. And yeah.
As they leave, Elva just says, I hope we get to a more simple place next.
Yes, this place is confusing.
I try to understand it, and then everything does a complete turnabout on me, and I have no idea what's going on again.
I don't suppose you have ever been exposed to the saying, "Be careful what you wish for."
Oh, shush. Can't be that bad.
I mean,
Right.
if we go to a simpler place, that usually means we can solve everything with violence.
Exactly!
Can
I'm
I-
with Frody!
Quickly, out of character, what is who would the Southlanders invoke in place of like the Grim Reaper? Because I know we don't have that, but would we invoke any particular power
Yeah,
in
the
the
Wanderer.
place? Yes. How could it go wrong? Do you realise that is not that very saying draws the eye of the Wanderer down on us?
I mean, his
It
eye
will?
has probably been on us since, his source has been keeping an eye on us.
In the
And
sense
we are
that,
wondering a lot.
look,
Yes, that's a good point.
supposing it can't get any worse is only a call for the situation to become so much worse. I would
Now
not.
you're giving him ideas. Shh.
Boom, boom, boom,
Anyway,
boom, boom.
let us excuse ourselves from this from this fine building and go back to the crew.
Yeah.
Yes.
Frothy. Just
Says I.
just you. Give me there is a willpower thing here, isn't there, if I remember correctly?
Yeah, there is.
Yes. Give me a willpower roll and add your magic stat, so to say, your levels of
Majory.
majory indeed.
So just a will, it is.
Yes. And as I said, and add your levels of majory.
It didn't let me add anything, but it's 9 out of 14, so that
Yes,
should be enough.
that's fine. 9 out of 14. You manage it quite nicely. The rest of you say let's leave or something along that line, and just as they say that, you have a feeling like you can hear them say, "Let's leave," and the voice just fades, and suddenly you are standing in a very strange place. You've never seen anything quite like this before, and it is a place of many colors. It's quite psychedelic, really.
Oh, interesting.
And you are not sure what is up or down. You are spun around yourself, and it doesn't take long before you have all the voms, because it really is a matter of your stomach suddenly deciding that it's going to vacate the premises. But just as you're about to throw up, you are standing on top of a mountain.
What the?
The snowy top of a mountain, and you're at the absolute pinnacle of it.
Am I still experiencing vertigo? Because that's unfortunate on top of a mountain.
No, you're not. You stand there and you look at at the surrounding landscape, and there are mountains as far as your eyes can see. And
That sounds quite beautiful.
it is. It's extraordinarily beautiful. And then out of nowhere, you hear a mirthful voice saying, "Can you not appreciate the joke? Can you not appreciate a good jest, Frothy? You and your crewmates, you complain, but you think that it's all too confusing, instead of having a right good laugh at it all."
Three looks around.
And there is a laughter hanging in the air. And the voice is moving around you. It says, Cynthia's picked up on it. And he says,
I imagine I have to, but
"It
you know.
is. Would it be interesting to travel the world and not see strange new things? Would it be fun to travel to someplace else and find that it's exactly the same as the Southlands? I think not."
I suppose that's true.
I mean, he says, "Here we are at the top of the world, and you are still being serious about it all.
This is the top of the world?
This is the top of the world. There is no place higher in the whole world.
Wow.
You are more than 11,000 paces from the surface of the water."
Shouldn't I be freezing?
"Well, you mean like this?" And out of nowhere, it suddenly becomes bitterly cold. There is a very hard wind, and you can't breathe. Yes. It lasts for just long enough that you're about to collapse from it, and then suddenly, poof, it's gone. See? Wasn't that fun?
I think I'll take to heart that I should appreciate where I am and what's happening.
Indeed. Learn to laugh at it all, Frothy, or this long, long, long voyage that you and your friends are on will be very bitter before you get to the end of it, believe me. People die. You know, people die, animals die, all men die in the end. You know what doesn't die?
Swords?
The story of your deeds.
Oh, I suppose swords do die if they... Yes, that's a good point.
And then you can hear almost somebody snapping their fingers, like so. And suddenly you're someplace else entirely. There is fire everywhere. Under your feet, the ground itself is burning. The sky is on fire. There is flame everywhere around you.
Where am I now?
There is a sizzling sort of voice, very different than the one before, but it sounds like, very much like, imagine a piece of wood when it's thrown into a fireplace, that popping and hissing sound that it gives as the sap is burned. It's very much that which permeates the voice, and it says, "You already know where you are. You are heading for fire and flame, Frothy. You and all of your crew. You have no idea the destruction you bring with you."
Well, if it's necessary, I will bring destruction.
It isn't necessary, but you do so anyway. thousands, tens of thousands will die. I will claim every one of them because of what you do.
I suppose there's not much for you to see other than destruction, is there?
That is all there is. In the end, everything burns. And all the flames vanish. You tumble into a pit of nothingness. There's just nothing there. You land in a pool of water. You fall in a very long way, but you don't get hurt. You land in a pool of water. You are pretty sure it's water because your trousers are wet. Or at least your backside.
You hope it's water and you didn't just pee your pants.
Your backside is wet. The underside of your legs, you're sitting there, and it's a little undignified, actually. The smell here isn't particularly nice. It's stale water and rotting flesh. And you as you look around, it's completely dark. But you hear voices. The first voice you hear is that of your grandmother, saying, "Oh, you are not supposed to be here, Frothy. I never saw you come here."
Well, where am I?
"You're with the Corpse Queen. Where else would you be?"
Well, I was just on top of the world, and then with the... So I'm guessing I'm going to be leaving soon, I hope.
"Well, I should think so. You're not meant to be here. I have seen everything that is going to happen to you, my boy. I have read your entire future. I'm you are going to..." And then her voice vanishes. And
Grandma.
And instead you hear Ormer's father, the Jarl of Svartalfen, his voice booming out loud and clear, saying, "Are you taking good care of my boy?"
Yes.
No.
Well, he tends to send us away, but we are his most trusted, so,
"That is good. So he is also taking good care of you. Is he a good captain?"
Very much so. We've crossed, well, farther than anyone's ever gone.
"That is good. That is good. Then
I think he'll be known forever in great tales of his deeds.
That is good. Then I am proud of him. Will you tell him from me I'm proud of him?"
I will.
"Thank you. Thank you." And then that voice vanishes as well, and suddenly there is a cacophony of voices. People you've known who've passed away throughout your life, all asking you questions about what is going on in life, and they're from all around you at the same time, and they're closing in, and it is really, really fucking freaky at this point.
Thordy tries his very best to answer, but he gets
Yes,
very
but it's
overwhelmed.
just, in the end, it becomes impossible to even tell the questions, apart, because
One at a time,
there are
please.
so many. Yeah, exactly. One at a time, for goodness sakes. And in the end, of course, there's complete silence, and there's a mist around you. And out of the mist stalks a huge, enormous, dark grey wolf, a dire wolf, towards you. Its head is lowered. It's clearly hostile. And you realize as you look around, because, focus on the wolf, and then suddenly you realize you're no longer in this dark place. You're standing on a battlefield. You've never seen this battlefield before. You don't even recognize the soldiers lying around you. Their equipment is strange. It's not like what they have in the Lotus Empire. It's you have a you realize you're standing on a beach, except the beach keeps going and going and going and going. I mean, as in you're standing in a desert, but you know what Southlander has ever seen one of those things. And there's the sand is starting to to blow up around you, so rising in a vicious sandstorm, and it's pecking at your face, and you can feel how it's literally starting to peel your skin off, and the wolf is just coming closer and closer and closer to you, and finally it's right in front of you, and it opens its maw wide, and there's blood dripping from its fangs, and you just hear this voice in your head. It's not even as it says it out loud. You hear the voice in your head saying, "This is your doing. Be proud of it." And then you're back in Lanwan.
If he hasn't already, Thrody stumbles and falls on his butt.
Yes.
And then he starts shivering.
Roddy?
What has
What
happened for the rest of you guys? I should probably do that as well. And obviously, we should also take a break at this point.
Yes.
But I will explain what has
maybe we
happened
should
for
do
the
that
rest.
first?
Yes, I will explain what has happened to you guys once we get back from this break. So please, ladies and gentlemen, do not go anywhere. We shall be back with more The Long Voyage in a moment.